Clarence Thomas has been exposed as the Supreme Court's captain of corruption. ProPublica found that Thomas has an old sugar daddy named Harlan Crow that has given Thomas approximately $500,000 worth of free luxury vacations. This includes chartered yachts to exotic islands and flights on private jets. On one trip, the Thomases island-topped in Indonesia. On another family holiday, they stayed at their sugar daddy's 105-acre lakeside retreat in the Adirondack Mountains. Nice lifestyle. Although it's ironic considering Justice Thomas said in a documentary about his life.
I prefer the RV parks. I prefer the Walmart parking lots to the beaches and things like that. There's something normal to me about it. I come from regular stock, and I prefer that. I prefer being around that.
We also learned that Crow bought $133,000 worth of properties directly from Clarence Thomas, showing poor judgment from the judge. Thomas has absolutely no ethics, no integrity, and sees the Supreme Court as a lottery ticket. Additionally, his treason wife, Ginny Thomas, who supported January 6th, exploited her husband's position to pull in $700,000 per year from the Heritage Foundation, a right-wing think tank. Justice Thomas himself makes an annual salary of $285,400. So the Thomas family was earning almost $1 million annually. So why do they need free fancy vacations from Crow? It's not like they'd be staying in the Motel 6 without him. Let's face it, the Thomases are wealthy grifters acting like low-life drifters. Clarence Thomas pathetically defended his lack of integrity by saying, quote, "Harlan and Kathy Crow are among our dearest friends, and we have been friends for over 25 years. As friends do, we have joined them on a number of family trips. Of course, private planes, yachts, and free junkets around the world. Just normal pleasantries between good buddies." The fact that Thomas was on the Supreme Court had absolutely nothing to do with it. If Thomas had worked in the Walmart parking lot, which he is so fond of, surely Harlan Crow still would have invited the Thomas family on his yacht. The Democrats in Congress are calling for tightening of ethics rules for members of the Supreme Court. They are also calling for an investigation of Thomas. That's too weak. That's too weak. What the Democrats must do is make impeaching Clarence Thomas a key part of their platform. In the coming elections, Democrats should be strong and say, if you give us a filibuster-proof majority, we will impeach Justice Clarence Thomas. It is time to remove this compromised and corrupt judge who has degraded the court's standing and reputation. By the way, the sugar daddy Harlan Crow has an unusual hobby of collecting Nazi memorabilia. Very strange. If you're a Republican, you probably think I'm exaggerating or making this up. That's because you watch Fox News, which is concealing the news of Thomas's corruption. The Fox mentioned Thomas in fewer than 50 segments since the first ProPublica story broke. It has mentioned Bud Light supposedly being woke in 183 segments. Which is more important? Philip Bump of the Washington Post reported a review of the past 10 days of coverage on CNN, MSNBC, C-SPAN, and the Fox showed that the latter channel has been the least likely to mention the Supreme Court justice. A 2011 study found that viewers of the Fox are less informed than people who don't watch any news at all. This study makes complete sense if one considers the Fox's failure this month to cover endemic corruption by Clarence Thomas. Their viewers think they're watching news when they're watching nonsense.